So I saw you made something special this week.
I did. And I made, well, actually, together, we made it at home, 2 versions of brajol.
2 versions?
2 versions. One version is like traditional because I'm traditional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good like that. And yeah, just a basic traditional brajol.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom makes it differently. Like, I guess more of an old school Sicilian way. I don't know.
What's the 2 differences? What are we looking at?
Well, mine is regular basic with the thin sliced beef rolled up. And my mom does it on pork skin, like gudane.
Wow.
Yeah, so hers is very different. But it's something I think my grandmother had taught her. So she does it more that style.
Okay.
I love gudane. I just eat the outside of it.
All right, that's pretty cool.
But regular basic brajol.
Yeah.
Delicious.
All right. Listen, honestly, it's been a while since I had brajol.
I was thinking of you. I was like, I don't know if Marcus has made this.
You know what?
Or have heard you talk about.
My parents had made my father, because remember, my father was the one who was the cook in the house. He never really, I think he made it twice, but it wasn't really a staple that we looked for, something that we really...
Because you cook your sauce for like 30 hours.
30 hours? Yeah, I mean, long time.
Because you brown your brajol in the pan,
right,
and then you let it cook in the pot for hours.
Well, let me ask you this one: is that a necessity, or is it like a meatball where you could throw a meatball raw in the sauce because of how long I cook it? You just have it sitting in there?
It's all the same thing.
Okay, so
see, that's the difference,
right?
When people say, "Oh, I cook my sauce 6 hours, 8 hours," because you have the meat in there.
Mm-hmm.
When I do regular basic sauce, I'm done in 25 minutes.
Right, so you're talking about like capugliato, like if it's capugliato or anything that has
like a basic traditional sauce.
No, I'm saying for when it's cooked for hours. You're done in 20 minutes,
but when you have the sauce cooking on the stove for hours and hours and hours, and then you're getting gravy.
Oh,
right? But I'm just saying,
I know.
People make that conception.
Yeah.
But it's because all that meat is like getting softer, getting tender in the sauce.
And it does.
Cooking all those hours.
Right. And for me, it's more like, even when I do like just the regular meat sauce, I like it cooking a long time because even
it doesn't need to cook that long.
So it doesn't.
Because that's just gabbaliado, ground beef.
It's just ground beef. That's all it is.
Right.
For me, but for some reason, I feel that there's a taste difference when the tomato cooks for longer. I've cooked it and tasted it at a 20-minute mark, 1 hour mark, and even a 2-hour mark. And to tell you the truth, it tastes different at every mark. So the longer it sits that cooks, it really like expands that flavor.
Well, again, you're talking about with meat in it. Even
I've done it with regular, just
nothing
plain,
in sauce?
with nothing in it. With nothing, and don't get me wrong, I won't do that for 4 hours. I'll do that one for like an hour and a half. I know that still seems a little, but like
a lot.
Again, I have it low. I have it cooking slowly, and it's just there's a huge taste difference when I
could have made dessert in that extra time.
I've done the 20-minute one, and it tastes sweeter because I feel like the tomato hasn't broken down enough, like the enzymes and the flavors in it that hasn't broken down.
Did you add the sugar?
We're gonna cut that out.
No, it's staying.
But like there is a difference, and it's hard to explain what it is. It gets more savory.
As things cook down, it changes.
But that's that's what I like. I've done the earlier ones, and I'm gonna tell you something. I was scarred as a kid.
Why?
Because my grandfather, I had a step grandmother, and we went there on Sundays. She made her sauce. Can I tell you, I would cry because I didn't want to eat it. She would literally cook this sauce 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't know what she used. I was too young at that point. It was so sweet, and I could tell that this sauce was not cooked enough.
Aww.
Where I wanted to cry.
No, that's going to be how she prepared it.
I don't know what
not the 20-minute mark.
And I think we've made
it's your ingredients. It's what you put in and how you put it together.
We both just found out where my scar comes from eating sweet sauce when I was a kid, and that's why I refuse to cook.
Thank you,
sauce.
Nonna.
Yeah, really appreciate you. I will never do that again. I can't. So every time when I taste the sauce that's a little sweet, I
If
won't
you
eat it.
use good ingredients,
absolutely 100%,
you will not have that problem.
And you won't.
The better the tomatoes, the better it tastes.
In the brajol, going back to brajol.
Yes, go back to brajol.
You're stuffing it with...
All right. So traditional brajol is basic. A little plain breadcrumbs, fresh parsley, salt, pepper, little grated cheese, minced garlic, and that is it.
Hard-boiled egg?
You can, if you want to now start getting fancy and like putting more things. Listen, I love boiled egg in my food,
right?
So that would go with me. But if you just want plain, basic, traditional brajol, it's just those basic things.
Gotcha.
In the other version that we do, we mix caballado, ground beef, season it like a meatball. Okay. Then you take that. Okay, let me back it up. Take the pork skin.
Right.
Lay it flat on a cutting board. Then you take the caballado that's seasoned and you put it on top. Like flatten it a little bit. And then, so it's like a base.
Right.
And then you put fresh parsley, a boiled egg, and we also do like sliced onion.
Thin.
But, and then you roll it up.
Okay.
And you tie it.
Right,
with the cooking twine.
Yeah.
And then you set them aside. Okay. So just with that, another thing you have to do is you beat an egg and you dip the end in the egg. And then like you quickly just fry it so it's like a sear. It seals the meat from falling out. Like Italians, we think of these things.
I couldn't even think about that.
And then you like seal the ends.
Yeah.
And then you put it on the dish aside. Then when you want to start putting it together,
plop it right in.
Throw it in raw.
Wow.
And all those hours it cooks through. It gets nice and tender. You get the flavors in the meat, in the sauce. And
I got to come here for that. It's been a while. But I also, I did a dry run on something that I hadn't made in years. And I made...
what is that?
Chicken cordon bleu.
Okay, because now, I don't want to say I make chicken cordon bleu because I feel like there's a sauce that goes with it.
Yes.
Right. I don't do all of that. But making a rolled up chicken, which I guess is like a chicken rollatini.
It's like a rollatini.
I do that all the time when I don't know what to make.
Yeah.
Like cutlets. Yeah. All right, let's stuff a chicken cutlet. Right. And then I'll roll it up. I'll throw ham, a little cheese. If you have spinach. So
I do the sauces. So there's a traditional 2 sauces to make with it. You could do a Dijon sauce. I'm not a fan of Dijon. It's like a mustard-based sauce.
That's not a common thing I keep in my house, though.
Remember,
either.
that's a French dish. Remember,
it is. Well, so that's a French mustard.
Exactly. So for me, though, I go down the route of the fat people, which is a Parmesan sauce,
which we have home.
Well, yeah. I mean, we should have all the stuff. It's basically butter, flour, milk, and Parmesan, grated Parmesan, but. I at one point I kind of forgot some of the steps for it, but I kind of remembered it over the weekend.
Okay.
And I did it the way, and this thing came out.
All right, so tell me about your sauce. Like, how do you put it together?
So basically, it's in a saucepan. It's so for every tablespoon of butter, you need a tablespoon of flour.
Yes,
so you got that
equal to each other.
The roux. Because, and I honestly can't. I don't like roux. I think I've said this before.
We have.
But I've cooked it a little bit more. You got a little bit more brown to get that flour flavor out, which
that's just because the flame was a little too high. If you lower it wouldn't burn.
I think that it was too, when I did it the first time, when I did my mac and cheese, check it out on my Instagram, I didn't cook it enough. So I had that floury taste to it. Now that I did it longer, just a few minutes longer, it doesn't have to be that long. It did it just a couple minutes longer where it got a little bit more brown. When I added a cup of milk to it and it kind of like broke up a little bit, I didn't taste it. I put in the Parmesan and I was going by thickness of how much I'm putting in, like, tablespoons at a time, just keep putting. Us, we go by eye. So as you're putting it in and you hit that right consistency, where you could do like a little Red River on it.
Coats the back of the spoon.
That's
too.
it. And it was perfect. And the chicken cordon bleu, come on, you know how it is. I do a mixture of regular breadcrumb and panko.
Okay. Oh, you always mix them. I don't really do that. I don't use panko like that.
So for that dish, it works. It gives you the crunch that you want. That's what it is.
Years ago, panko was so big. I think that's when it like kind of blew up.
Huge.
And we used it then, but I don't really buy it anymore.
So I just bought it now. Now they actually have it seasoned, like because I've seen that. I buy 4C.
Okay.
So I won't go with Progresso. I won't go with all the other breadcrumbs or anything. I only go with 4C. I like the way they season their stuff. Yeah, sometimes when I do like the stuffed mushrooms or whatever, I'll add extra garlic. I'll add extra Parmesan, but never too much more of the other things. But 4C, I think they have a good blend of their seasonings to breadcrumbs. And now they do it with their panko, too. Well, they've been doing it with the panko. I just never bought it. So now I do a 50-50 because panko, to me, in my opinion, doesn't cover enough. If it falls
on its own, it falls off.
So I've seen that. When you mix it with the regular breadcrumbs, I feel like it binds it so much better. Like whatever sticks onto it is gonna, you're covered on all angles.
It adds that crisp on the basic breading.
There we go. And I love doing it. So now it's easy. I butterflied. It was 2 chicken breasts. I made 4 pieces out of that, 1/4 inch big. Butterflied each piece, so there was 4 pieces. Swiss cheese, ham, jelly rolled it.
I don't care for Swiss.
Neither do I. But with that,
you use
it works.
It anyway?
I use it for this.
You know what's my go-to cheese? When I'm like stuffing?
What?
Provolone.
Yeah,
that's my go-to for everything.
But you don't use the sharp one. You use the
I always buy the mild, the sweet,
low sodium.
But I love provolone so much better.
But here's the thing: the one thing you got to understand about provolone and Swiss, they are both a bland cheese. Think about it. The flavor profile on them is almost the same, except Swiss has a mild back end flavor. While you'll get a plain, almost like mozzarella. Mozzarella really doesn't have that kind of flavor you're looking at. Provolone's the same way, and so is Swiss. It's just Swiss is with like skim milk type of deal, and then provolone.
Yeah. I'm not big on Swiss at all.
I don't run
Never
to it.
was.
I'll only have that with ham. That's why for me it works. But like even on a sandwich or chicken cordon bleu, that's the only time I'll do that. But it was a good run. I'm gonna end up redoing it, and I'll probably end up posting it. But
I want to see that come together with the sauce.
Oh, and they were nice big pieces too. Like they were thick.
Yeah.
I actually have a great question for you.
What's your question? Shoot.
So we both do this thing where we go in the kitchen and do whatever we do. I want to know from you, what are your we'll do this in 2 parts. What are your equipment kind of like necessities? What is it that you think that are essential into your kitchen and what you think would be essential into other people's kitchen to do what it is that you do?
I mean, the basic tools.
Equipment, anything.
I have to have a cutting board.
Okay.
I feel like I cannot even cut a piece of garlic unless I have a cutting board.
Really?
I have multiple sizes. I have multiple thicknesses. I have a wonderful array of cutting boards.
All right.
And cutting mats.
Cutting mats.
Yeah. I have a whole those thin ones. Those vinyl thin ones that come in like 4 colors. One's for meat, one's for fish, one's for vegetables.
So you don't know how to cut in a dish?
I can't. I'm not. Really? Not that I can't. I'm not comfortable.
I hear you. I got you.
I'm not comfortable.
Okay.
So I need my cutting boards. I need an Italian knife.
What? Okay.
Those Italian knives that everybody uses.
Those serrated knives with the plastic?
Not just any knife. Like it has to be those Italian knives.
Because you're comfortable.
The ones I use in my house, like you've seen upstairs.
Yeah.
Like those are my go-to. Do I use a paring knife? Once in a blue.
Okay.
Like if I'm cutting up strawberries or whatever, then maybe I'll take it out. But like the knives are like key. Mm-hmm. Those are main things. One thing that I love to use that I know you love using too, but I don't use it all year round, is my Dutch oven. That I think is awesome.
I think that needs to be a
It
staple.
browns well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you let it cook for hours.
You don't have to worry about nothing.
You don't worry about it. It retains the heat well.
I think
Love
that's
it.
a staple.
And that goes from the top of the stove to inside the stove. And like you don't really hear a lot of people use it or love it or talk about it.
If I could, I would be their spokesperson. Because what you could do from stews to roasts to it's a universal pot.
You've actually roasted a whole chicken in there.
I did a whole chicken.
I've never done that. I actually throw that in the air fryer now. But and that's actually another thing that I love is my air fryer. But you cooked the whole chicken and it browned.
Had a nice base on it.
Nicely.
You put a base: celery, onion, carrot. I stuffed it with onion.
The Holy Trinity.
There we go. There it is again. And then I just put it right on top. Put the lid on it. Threw it in the oven. Then after a little while, took the lid off, let it do its brown. It was fine, and this thing broke apart. It was that tender. It broke apart. It does retain a lot of the heavy lid because it's cast iron. I don't know. In my opinion, if you like to cook and you don't have a Dutch oven, then I don't think you fully understand your kitchen. Or what you could do in it. You could do so much with that.
And not for nothing, you don't even need that expensive brand.
No.
Mine I bought on clearance at Macy's one year. I was like, oh, let me get another one, right? I love it. It works so good. So the price really doesn't matter. As long as it's a Dutch oven,
right,
it works perfectly.
Correct. So those are yours, right? Or you have any other ones?
Basic little tools. That chopper.
Which one is that one?
That's like this, like the long handle, and then the base is like the X.
You use that?
Yeah, for ground beef. Or like that's what I use when we make when you're breaking down your caballado. That breaks it down.
Old school wooden spoon, or I use the.
Let me ask you a question, since you love to read on your little tidbits of information.
Sure.
I've heard you should not use wood, like a wooden spoon, a wooden spatula, of anything like that, on ground beef.
Correct.
Because when you're washing it or something, it doesn't fully come out.
So remember, wood is porous. So it has a lot of open space. I mean, when you're touching it, you're not seeing it because it's so small. Bacteria, oil, all that stuff will sit into the spoon. That's why they tell you try to use metal or those
plastic.
Well, I don't want to just say any kind of plastic. You know, like the spatula one that you would do the cake. I use those now. And they're easy to clean.
Well, they're heat resistant.
They are heat resistant.
They really.
I love using those, by the way. Now I've used them more often. Like today, I brought over some banana bread muffin stuff.
Yes.
I used that to smash down the bananas. And honestly, I didn't need the fork. It just works. So those spatulas.
The spatulas are good
too. They work so much better. And listen, the wood spoons I use to mix the pasta when it's boiling, or I don't want to use it too much for a lot of things that have oil or stuff that could really stain tomato. It absorbs it. So that's a tidbit for the day.
Yeah. But I do like that tool.
Yeah.
To break it down.
I never used it. I never used that. I've seen people use it.
I use it for taco meat because we do make tacos a lot.
Yeah.
But when you're breaking down your chopped meat for pasta forno or whatever, I'm like, I should use it here too. And then I take it out.
You can.
Yeah.
So I use that spatula instead. But any other?
Do you have any?
Do I? I actually do. Rice cooker.
Okay.
Because I'm a big rice person.
Do not own a rice cooker. I've never used a rice cooker.
Can I tell you something? I will tell you this one. I bought it. It's a good brand. It's a well-known brand. I have their small version, so it has the lid with the air that goes out. But they have these bigger rice cookers that don't it's a sealing lid. Steam doesn't come out. It just cooks. Let me tell you something. I've done rice. I've boiled rice. I've done it where you do the 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice ratio. I've done it in a pot. I get it. There's something about the rice cooker that makes it the way you would have it at like a restaurant.
Like it even tastes different, you're saying?
You wash the rice the way you're supposed, because you're supposed to wash rice.
Yes, you're supposed to.
After you wash it, the way it cooks, because remember, the heat comes from the bottom like you would in a pot, and you have the lid on it. You're not touching it. You're letting it do its thing.
So you don't even need to stir it?
Don't need to do nothing. You put it in, make sure you got the right amount, and how a good way to tell the difference between a pot cooking it and the rice cooker. The rice cooker, in the pot, they always say it's 2-to-1 ratio, right?
Yes.
In the rice cooker, when you have the rice down, the water just needs to get past your fingernail.
That is so funny. I was watching with Frankie a comedy thing with Joe Coy.
Okay.
How his mother taught him how to make rice.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He stuck up his middle finger.
Yep.
And he's like, when the water is this much higher, that's how you make rice. And that was her lesson on how to make rice.
And let me tell you something. It is 100% accurate.
Like, that's the method.
That's the method. So now, if you want good, fluffy rice that tastes, you're not supposed to, but I do it anyway. I put just a little bit of vegetable oil in there, just a little bit, not too much.
I do
some salt. I put that lid on. I put the thing that I don't need to think about it. It stops on its own. Has the lid. It steams.
Do you know what the timer is for? Is it 20 minutes?
I think it's like 20 minutes. But again, like I didn't sit there with the thing, so I could be wrong, but I think it
roughly.
is 20. But now you could do stuff with rice cookers now. People are discovering new things. People are making cheesecakes out of it. Because it has a set temperature, and there's the bigger ones. You could do brown rice where it doesn't come out too hard, where it comes out like it's white rice. You could do noodles. You could do a whole bunch of rice cooker. Rice cooker is now considered like that new pressure cooker type of deal where you could do different things with it.
Years ago, we used a pressure cooker.
I'm terrified to using those.
Oh, I remember.
Oh, I can't.
The steam shooting out. I'd be like,
I want to go outside. I'll leave the house. Let me know when it's done. Because you would hear these terrifying stories that people would turn the lid from the locking and it would just fucking blow up. And I'm like, nah, I don't need this in my life. I got enough problems. I don't need my kitchen blowing up on me. So I will never use, if we want to talk about stuff, I would never use a pressure cooker. Due to fear.
I was going to say, right? Because we'd be scared to use it.
Due to fear, I won't use it.
But we used it all the time growing up. I remember that thing in the kitchen, like
Dude,
going.
You can get a roast that's
like
supposed to take...
chicken and rice, like, or whatever. Like,
it's not just that. Remember, it's about saving time, right? That pressure cooker, you can get a roast that's supposed to take you 2 hours to cook in the oven. We will be done in 45 minutes.
That is crazy.
I get it. I'm with you. Call me when you're done.
But doesn't it have like a release valve on top?
You have to release the that's
and
how
then
you
it like releases the pressure, and then when it stops,
my luck.
Then
I hit the thing, and the shit explodes in my face. I'm not doing it. I have way too much of a fear with that. The other thing, I couldn't do one of my favorite sauces if I didn't have this, which is my blender.
Okay. I really don't take mine out much.
I make pesto.
Yes,
I love pesto. I can't do it without it. And when I make it, I don't do enough to put inside of a food processor where I could just do one. No. If I'm doing it, I'm doing it. I'm talking about I got containers of this stuff because I don't always want to be making this.
No, you make the mess once and you eat for like 5 times.
Exactly. So without my blender, I think there was a few things that I couldn't do that I make, things that I make well. I wouldn't do it without it. So I think the blender, the rice cooker.
See, those are 2 things I don't even use. Another thing don't use is an Instapot.
Isn't that like the pressure cooker?
No, it's different. The pressure cooker is with the pressure, and then you have to release it.
And what's the Instapot?
The regular one. Like, you just set it and forget it. You leave it in for 6 hours.
Oh, you mean the slow
cooker, an Instapot. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Is it not crock pot, right?
A crock pot, an Instapot, a slow cooker. I think slow cooker is actually a name brand.
I don't know.
Instapot is a name brand. One of them is a name brand.
Instapot is a name brand.
But they're all the same thing.
Right.
You set it in the morning. You go to work. You come home from work.
And then your house is on fire.
Dinner's ready. But
I can't.
do I have one?
Yes. I have one too.
Is it sitting in the box? Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how I got this. Like, I ended up getting it like 6 years ago.
I can guarantee
I've never taken it out of the box.
The idea of it was nice.
And I don't want to put anybody down because some people, that's how they cook all their meals. And I get it. You know what? You have a busy day. You know what? You need to cook for your family.
Yeah.
Do it any way you got to do it.
I get it.
So for that, you know what? If that's your best route to cook, that's perfectly fine. I think that's great. But me, I would never think of using it because you know what? Like, you're 10 hours of sitting in that pot going. You could just do it in a regular pot in like an hour.
You just about to hit the same
so like for
mark
me,
that I'm talking about.
I have no use for it. It doesn't work for me. I wouldn't even care to use it. But based on your needs, if you need just to get, like I said, you're working all day. You're coming home, like you sometimes. I'm freaking tired. I come home late. But if you had the thing going in the morning, boom, your dinner's ready.
Can I tell you something?
So for that, it works.
Let me tell you something. If I did that, I had a long day at work, and then I come home and I see that, I would store it and order out. Because I'm just at that level where it's like, I'm not feeling this. The other thing I got to say about this slow cooker thing, I will tell you, yes, there are people who are busy. But also on the contrary, no one is that busy that they have to do that on a daily or that they do it 5 times out of the 7 days. To me, it's just easier mentally. Let me just throw a bunch of stuff into a pot, let it get hot for 10 hours, and it'll be ready when it's time. I understand that people are, that they're tired. I understand people are busy, but it's food. It's something you're putting in your mouth, in your stomach. You got to feel good. And I get time is a factor, but it's also, for me, I'm going to say it for me. I will defend myself. I think it's lazy. I think it's the laziest thing you can do.
Also, like another reason why I won't care to use it, I feel like everything looks like stew.
Everything does become stew. You can make ribs in there.
Everything looks like stew.
Do you know you can make ribs in there?
You could do anything in there.
You could do anything in there.
But I feel like it's the meat,
yep,
broth.
Yep.
Meat, the broth, or a sauce.
Yes.
Like, it's all...
Because you need moisture in there.
It's all...
But you could do a roast in there. You could do a bunch of stuff in there. That's great. I'm happy for you.
The only time when I was really, really little did I have a memory.
Yeah.
We had a little one. Maybe like a 2-cup.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about that. You know what we used it for? And I thought it was like the greatest thing ever. It was like my birthday. You know what we put in there? Like the cheese dip, the queso.
Yeah.
Because I love it, but I like it hot.
Yeah.
I don't like it cold. Yeah. We just do it in there. It was hot the whole night. So for that, I think it's great.
That's fine.
To keep my dip hot. We got to eat. But like to use it in my daily cooking,
no,
I have no desire at all.
Both you and I do not.
Not at all. Like I said, I'd rather like just throw it on the stove that hour.
Yeah.
And you're done.
Yeah.
You know?
I totally agree.
Or get the Dutch oven going and then let it sit in the hour, like in the oven, those 2-3 hours if it's needed. But that's not for me.
Like I said, my kicker is no one is that busy. I don't care what you do. No one is that busy. That's my opinion on it. And if somebody wants to come to my house and shoot me, more than welcome to.
No, I think everybody has different needs.
Yeah, that's fine. The day, and that's okay.
Right? You're a different amount of people in your household. You have different needs. So you know what works for you works for you. You can't order out all the time.
No, you can't. You'd be broke.
So if that's your route to cook for your family, then you know what? Do you.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to ask you another question.
You did.
I want to ask you something else.
Go ahead.
Where do you think the future of our food is going? Like it's definitely going healthier, right?
Who is?
Food.
In general?
In the world. In general.
I've been hearing the opposite.
More on
the bad side. Like
how?
Think about it. Feeding a population, a large population. They've been hearing farmers. They've been saying that their soil is getting more and more and more toxic because it's planting and growing in the same spots. That's why they have to keep switching out. But the acidity in the soil nowadays, it's getting worse and worse.
Because it's actually going more plant-based foods.
Do you know that actually most of those plant-based foods?
How do you feel about plant-based foods?
If you're gonna eat a burger, eat a burger. Stop eating this imitation crap.
Like, if that's really like what's to come,
right?
Oh my God! Like, I wouldn't even want to eat meat that's like that. You know what I'm saying?
But
that's
it's
like,
not meat.
And that's another thing. Like, they're doing to cultivate it in like to grow it that way as for harming animals.
Yeah.
Like, it all goes with like plant-based, vegan,
right.
Animal activists. Like, I get all of that. We need to like keep our planet green and healthy and thriving.
You want to hear the kicker of that?
But
kicker.
But isn't that like harmful for you?
So the kicker on all of that is actually when you do things that are more towards the vegan, vegetarian side of things, you're actually destroying more of the ozone that way. I was watching a few videos and they were saying that the O2 levels that are produced to make this stuff and to harvest it and all this other stuff, it's actually more harmful to the environment than what you think.
I don't know, but all this plant-based, like, okay, I love vegetables and fruits, don't get me wrong, like, that's basic.
Sure.
You know, but if you're going to start going with, like, meat, that's, like, and they were saying that, like, cultivated in, like, a lab to grow it that way, so you're not harming the animals, but isn't that harmful for your body? Yeah, because it's not real.
3D printing your meat? Yeah.
Would you eat a 3D printed...
I will tell you this
forget the meat. A 3D printed cheesecake. Mm-hmm. All right, I get it. They're using edible material. But...
in the long run, they have to figure out how is this affecting you metabolically? How is your body breaking it down? The long-term effects of eating these things. I do believe... I'll tell you this much. I'll try it. I'm willing to try.
Everybody would taste it
just to see how it is.
Curiosity.
But then after that, I think I won't take it after that. I would rather
be like, let's go get a burger, a real burger.
I want to hear this thing moo.
Like, and then they're trying to say like seafood is like we need to like go different routes.
Yeah, because we're overfishing.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, one part of the country, I don't know if it was like Britain or the UK, they're going more towards jellyfish. So now they're making jellyfish salad, jellyfish chips.
Because so jellyfish, the chips I could see, because the minute you dry these jellyfish out, the substance that's left over, because it's what it is, it becomes malleable. Like it's because in the ocean when they're hydrated, you touch them, forget about it, it's over. You feel like you're touching a handful of jelly. So when they dry them out and they can do all these things, would I try it? Couldn't pay me.
Have you tried seaweed?
I eat sushi.
Well, yeah, and sushi it's fine, but like I mean dried. Like I guess seaweed chips. Then maybe I
seaweed chips. No,
I've tasted it. I've had it.
What'd you think? It tastes like the ocean, right? It tastes like the ocean.
I don't like it at all. It's horrible.
And that's a very big staple out in the Asian countries, Japan, China. They're very big with it.
In sushi, you don't taste it.
I actually started getting without it.
Huh?
I started getting my sushi, like I get sashimi.
Yeah, but even if it's in it, you don't taste it.
They use it as a wrap.
Yeah, I know, but you don't taste, like it doesn't have a flavor that comes through. You taste everything else. But in the chips, oh my God. Like I bought it, I tried it.
That's the main ingredient in the chips is seaweed.
No, it's all seaweed.
The other stuff, you got the rice, you got the fish.
I don't know,
Marcus. Soy sauce.
We need to go back to like olden times and eat.
Olden times, there was less people. Olden times, we could have ate
because they had too much meat.
They had sustainable farms. They weren't in a rush to grow things. Now with
but it's more natural too.
Of course it is, but now you have to keep up with population.
Our stuff is all processed.
Look at the junk.
Even the meat's processed.
Of course it is. It has to be.
Their stuff was more natural.
That's what happens when you have a booming population.
I don't know. What are we gonna do to fix this problem?
I don't know, but I hope it just doesn't get more expensive because this is ridiculous. I order 10 things, 15 things at ShopRite, and I'm paying already like close to $200. It's getting ridiculous.
I think that's why it's important to know how to cook.
Yes.
Do for yourself, because you could just buy a good piece of natural meat. Let's just say a good wholesome piece of meat and just cook it yourself. You don't have to like run out, order this, buy this. And then you get that crap or things are fake.
Yeah.
Better learn how to cook. That's key.